Hello everyone. We will deliver the news that became a hot topic on July 10, 2023. Dangerous driver who fled horror crash while passenger was trapped in car is jailed. Yahoo News UK. Reese Page, 27, left a man trapped after crashing a Mini Cooper in East Sussex. Below are your comments. Just returned home from there. Just in time. They all drive little bitty cars. Just like Ted Kennedy at Chappaquiddick, where he left his female passenger drown. Next news. Jack Ma's run-in with Beijing not only saw him disappearing for over 2 years. It also cost his companies over $850 billion. Business Insider. On Friday, Beijing announced a $985 million fine for Ant Group, an Alibaba affiliate, signaling an end to a years-long regulatory crackdown. Below are your comments. China chooses who is allowed to retain or become wealthy. The CCP wants no completion from Chinese oligarchs. It's a problem in Russia and a problem in the USA where oligarchs, everywhere oligarchs, like to weigh in on things they were not elected to weigh in on. And destroyed even more value for the Chinese economy. This shows in Chinese economic growth and the value of the yuan. Biden is owning you. Xi. Good job. China chooses who is allowed to retain or become wealthy. Their political people just can't be obvious about displaying their corrupted wealth. This is the same China that thinks and delusionally believes that its yuan will one day replace the US dollar. Right? You never know what the communists will do at any given point in time. China has the stiffest capital controls of any nation. Once your money goes into China, taking it out is like Page. Next news. Scientists warn against the poor scientific practices of assuming all ancient societies were male-led after an ivory man is found to be an ivory woman. Business Insider. A chemical analysis found that a noble from Spain's Copper Age was actually a woman who may have been the highest-ranking person in her region. Below are your comments. Very interesting article and subject matter. It would have been a bit better if they had gone into detail about the AMELX genes and how they are used to determine gender. I will certainly have to read further elsewhere to get a better understanding of the process. Boys get so triggered when it's not all about them all the time. So funny! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. The only thing archaeologists and anthropologists should do is follow the evidence. And fortunately that's usually exactly what they do. That crystal quartz blade is beautiful. Next news. El Salvador President Nayib Bukele nominated for re-election despite constitutional questions. Associated Press. President Nayib Bukele was officially nominated by his New Ideas Party Sunday to run for re-election next year, brushing aside objections from legal experts and opposition figures who say El Salvador's constitution prohibits his candidacy. New Ideas also announced that current Vice President Felix Ulloa would run for re-election in the ballot scheduled for Feb. 4. 2024. Below are your comments. Excellent. Congratulations to a president who cares for his country. Can we make him the USA president please? I know he's not a citizen but we need help with crime in this country's. Bukake knows how to handle unlike Sleep Joe. This president is giving a blueprint on how to handle crime. Peace and prosperity is all we want. But these so-called activist groups ruin everything with their whining about everything. Just take a page from El Salvador and do what has to be done and not walk on EGSS shells. I think he's. Next news. Couple pulls over for frantic mama duck and completes heartwarming rescue. TikTok shows. Sacramento Bee. My mama instincts just kicked in, the California TikToker said. Below are your comments. My wife and I had a similar experience a couple of years ago. It was a Thursday morning and we went to a small park near our house to have a coffee and relax. We saw a mallard duck with her little ducklings headed to a nearby pond pass within a few feet of us. After they were out of sight we decide. I had 4 pet ducks raised from ducklings. They're so much fun. I bought one of those huge, round, stock watering tanks and rolled it into my backyard to make a pond. Then built a deck around half of it, adding rocks and plants on the steps. What fun! Great story. One of my neighbors ended up raising 7 ducklings she found. Their mom was hit by a car. Once they were big enough, 5 left. 2 still stay with her and visit all of us neighbors regularly. A wonderful praiseworthy act that goes a long way to restoring my faith in human nature. Wish politicians would borrow a leaf out of these loving people's book. Next news. Meet a student loan borrower with $101,000 in debt who doesn't have any hope with Biden's new plan for loan forgiveness. I'm never going to be able to pay it down. Insider. Jarrett, 38, thought getting an MBA would help him land a well-paying job. It's only left him with a big student debt load. Below are your comments. It would be the same with taking a loan out for a home. Or any loan. If you don't pay the payment, the interest compounds to a place of no return. When my husband and I first got married and was so excited to get our first credit card, we went out and bought a Curtis Mathis TV, which was popular in. As I told my children daily, make good choices. Because the choices you make have outcomes. All of these articles act like these people were forced to borrow large sums of money. They weren't, they choose to. My wife and I and our 2 children all have 4-year or advanced degrees. We all had loans. 10 wouldn't make a dent in a $101,000 of debt. What would have made a dent would have been paying the monthly payments for the past 36 months. You signed the contract. Honor it. My youngest is about the same age. After he graduated high school, he tried community college for a semester and decided it wasn't for him. He went to trade school as a welder and hasn't looked back since. He now averages $120,000 to $140,000 a year. You don't have to go to college to be moderately. My eldest son and I had a long discussion about college. We started with what degree he wanted and then discussed what degrees had the most open positions. Then we discussed what college he wanted to attend and what made the most financial sense. Bottom line, he decided attending a school that allo. Next news. Scientists have developed a radical new solution to seek and destroy invasive spotted lanternflies. Here's what's happening. The cool down. The robot uses AI to detect the fly's eggs. Below are your comments. Nice school project. But let's not pretend it has any practical use other than getting them an A in their robotics class. You're never going to see these out in public doing any pest egg removal, and there is no way for the robot to even treat an entire tree. Because there is no feasible way for it. Wow. Isn't it just wonderful, all the things that humans come up with to control nature? Ha 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 ha. Well, look around and see how successful it has been so far. We are controlling things so well that we are the same planet we depend on for our very survival. Oh wait, Elon has a plan to circa. How much would it cost to move past the experimental stage to a robust machine and then implement the technology widely and effectively? Hundreds of millions or billions? Why not just release sterile males as with mosquitoes? One day farms will have dozens of autonomous robots bleep pests and weeds 24/7. They already have cultivating robots that can tell weeds from the good plants. AI will do some great things and hopefully will replace a lot of chemical solutions. They want to bleep invasive bugs, but man is doing a good job of bleep everything else on the planet. Next news. NATO summit host Lithuania is a small country with a loud voice. Especially when it comes to Russia. Associated Press. Never in its history was Lithuania this safe, says Jonas Brokila, an IT engineer. Who brought his family to see the US-made Abrams tanks? German Leopards and Martyrs and other military hardware brought out to project NATO power ahead of an alliance summit next week. The two-day summit starting Tuesday with U.S. President Joe Biden and other NATO leaders will be the most high-profile international event that Lithuania has hosted since it joined the alliance in 2004, and some locals hope it will be of historic significance. Below are your comments. Russia's Kaliningrad exclave and its surrounding territory, for centuries, used to be German East Prussia's beautiful capital Königsberg, the birthplace of the philosopher Immanuel Kant. Russia saw it not as a great, unforgettable German culture worthy to preserve, but rather as an entrance to tea. Most of Eastern Europe once was part of Lithuania. As part of the Lithuania-Polish Commonwealth, including Belarus, Ukraine, and part of Russia. So following Putin's logic, most of Eastern Europe should be handed over to Lithuania. Lithuanians know the only way to negotiate with Russia is to defeat them. Been that way for 1,000 years or more. Brought his family to see the US-made Abrams tanks. German Leopards and Martyrs and other military hardware brought out to project NATO power. I am so proud that we are part of this multi-nation defense against one more European dictator trying to get more power. If this had been in place in the, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.